I'm back. Rhodes for the Matrixx and Rhodes show. Well, I don't know how I missed this, but I did. Oh, man. Been really busy the last couple of days. Was trying to shoot this very video earlier. Dogs ruined it. Started barking. So, there's some serious interest, it looks like, in bringing Friday the 13th, a movie, a film, a reboot, back to the screen. And Sean Cunningham seems like he is involved in this by way of a writer and director that he is working with for something else. And this came out the other day, and I'm just now getting to talk about it. This is Outkick, David Hookstead. Now that I know Hookstead's a Friday the 13th fan, I may have to reach out to him, see if I could get him on the channel so we can talk some Friday. It sounds like life might be injected into the legendary Friday the 13th film franchise. The legendary saga was one of the original slasher series that gave way to the new era of horror films, and fans can't get enough Jason Voorhees killing his victims. We can't get enough, but we also can't get any films. The last film in the franchise came out in 2009, and fans have been left craving more ever since the last time Jason Voorhees was on the screen. Well, it sounds like we may get another film that might actually be happening. Friday the 13th might be returning. Writer Jeff Locker revealed that he pitched a potential reboot with director Jeremy Weiss, and the man responsible for the series, Sean S. Cunningham, is all for it. Sean hired me to do a rewrite on The Night Driver, and after working closely with director Jeremy Weiss and him on that, we naturally got to talking about Friday the 13th and House. Jeremy and I pitched a dream reboot of Friday the 13th with Sean's blessing to keep developing it with him. Locker told Bloody Discussing in an exclusive interview. Locker further added, obviously, the prequel TV series has reignited some interest about a new film, so we're hoping the surrounding excitement will inspire both sides to come together and give us Jason on the big screen again for the first time in 14 years. But we also have a plan B for a sequel to the original we think fans will absolutely love and should avoid any legal entanglements. I would love to understand how that would happen. I really would. By the way, Brian Fuller, we've got to remember with Crystal Lake, they have access to the entire film series from the Friday the 13th Paramount films into, of course, the stuff with New Line, all right, and Platinum Dunes. Brian Fuller came out and said they can basically retell all of those stories over, okay? And they can pick and choose and reach into what they want to do in that series. If he follows the Hannibal template, then he may just start with the first film and just literally start remaking the films as we go throughout the seasons. Obviously, in a much more detailed and based on Hannibal, a very dramatic, serious manner. This should be very grotesque, and I can't wait to see it. Cranking out Friday the 13th movies and other slasher films used to be very normal for Hollywood. Then they dropped off a cliff. From 1980 through 2009, a dozen films featuring Jason Voorhees were released. That's a new movie every few years. From 80 through 93, 9 Friday the 13th films were released. That's a rate that might even put Marvel to shame. Now, we might get to see Jason back on the screen cutting people up. What's not to love? As a fan of the films, I hope it happens. While the movies won't win awards, they are a ton of fun. The 2009 film was hilariously good, ridiculous, without question, a ton of fun, no doubt. I also like the reboot a lot. There's an entire plot point where one character is armed, but doesn't bring his gun out until long after all hell breaks loose. Stuff like that simply makes horror movies better. You'll never hear anyone say no to a great slasher movie after nearly a decade and a half. It'd be great to catch another Friday the 13th movie. I agree with David Hookstead on that. So, they did mention, hopefully it will bring both sides together. Did you catch that? which means from a filmmaking standpoint, this thing's still locked up in legal hell, okay? That's where Brian Fuller was talking about the fact that because it's TV, it falls under a different umbrella and the rights don't have anything to do with the movies. That's why they're going to be able to cherry pick or take any part of any of the films and put it into the series, okay? Because they don't have any actual rights infringements in some way just because it's television / streaming versus an actual major motion picture. I found that interesting, and it's also exciting. Actually, I got to be real with you. If you asked me, would you rather have a series or a movie? If I get Jason back, I'm going to tell you I want a series. Okay? I would love something that would last 3, 4, 5 years and incorporate the best parts of maybe most of the films. I said most of the films, okay? You know, I can potentially do without a new, things that navigate around a new beginning or Jason Goes to Hell or Jason X, things like that. Then, I'm okay if they decide to stay away from. Although Brian Fuller laughed and said if they make 10 seasons, he might put Jason in space. Please don't. So you get my point, but I think it's cool he can draw from that. I wish it would quit getting referred to as a prequel because he was very clear about it being a prequel / sequel / however they want to do it. It's all going to be sort of interwoven together, which is exciting. It's going to be Pamela and Jason Voorhees. We're going to get to see both. The hockey mask, all of it, he said, is fair game for the series. I hope we get another movie. Sean S. Cunningham, great. Let's make the movie, but if Victor Miller and all them, if it's still in legal hell, I don't know how that's going to happen. You know what I mean? So, by the way, 2 seasons, I believe, is what they have with Crystal Lake. I think he's written that many, but he's hoping it will go on. Hannibal got prematurely canceled after 4 seasons, and which is just sad because Hannibal was fantastic, and they are still talking about trying to figure out how to bring that back to finish it. They need to bring it back badly. Make a movie out of it if you got to, another film, however, and put it on Peacock, right? Phenomenal television. I mean, excellent. And not watered down from like a gore standpoint at all. That Hannibal series, very gory. It was one of the best things I've ever seen on network television. It was shockingly good. And of course, it got canceled. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.